Hey y'all, I always have to wait for it to count up. Anyway, hey y'all,
Yo,
what's up? This is my friend Finn.
what's up?
We've been friends for like
Um,
3 years
yeah,
almost.
wow.
So,
How's
I
it?
actually, see, we found this old video where I talk about him in it. Let me just play a little bit.
And like he was talking about how he goes by Finn when he's at home, and pull out my headphones.
Johnny.
So, that was the day that we discovered that we were both trans and we
Well,
became friends.
that we discovered mutually of the other person.
Yes, yeah.
It wasn't a revelation of
Well, like, we
oh
were both
God,
trans.
yeah.
No, we just discovered that each other were trans, yeah. So then we started hanging out, every Friday night, pretty much. First we would get drinks, then we realized we were cheap, and we decided to just watch movies at his apartment.
Well, it was better. It was more.
Yes. So, like, we
Yeah.
always worked, like, 10 to 8 together on Fridays, so then we would have, like, movie night after, so.
Yes.
But now we both don't work it. Well, I still work on the weekends, but he doesn't
that
work there
sucks
anymore.
for you.
Money is money.
I've had my fair share of that.
Yes. We've each done our time, so he is going to just tell a little bit about himself, and then we're gonna talk about probably the title's gonna be something about trans traveling or something. I talked about this a little bit ago, so I'll try and remember to put that link. I'll try and remember to put that link in the description.
Smack that like button.
No, I don't say shit like that.
Good.
So that's not how we do here. We just sit and talk, and then
You'd be
that's it.
surprised how I've never been on YouTube, and I just see that all the time, so I
hate
have
that
to
shit.
say it.
Like they don't even do their video. They're like, subscribe. It's like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about? Like, get to the video. Anyway, I'm not shitting on anybody. That's not the point. But we're gonna talk about his experience, his experience with TSA and
Yes.
changing his passport. And he's traveled in Europe, so it was a little bit
Many
different
times.
experience.
Yes.
I haven't been to Europe since before I transitioned. So, okay,
Okay, so
tell us about yourself.
yes, hello, yes, I'm Finn. I have been on hormones for about a year and a half now.
Yeah.
I started in September, so it's a little bit under, but
Close enough.
yeah. So
Well, next month would be a year and a half, right?
yeah,
Ish. I don't know. I can't do math.
by like the 10th, yeah, March
Somebody
10th.
do the math.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, no one do the math, please. And so I've had my name changed officially, legally, for a year and a couple months, because that was like late December. Well,
Yeah.
that it officially got done.
Yeah.
Um,
2017.
yeah, and the first processes of that were, kind of going to the court, making sure that was approved, and that was, I'm pretty sure you've already talked
Yeah,
about
I
that,
gotta
so
let
I'm
you
not
know.
going to go into
Yeah.
detail.
Just
But-
a quick synopsis.
So I ended up doing that, and that kind of leads into, like, how I even got my passport.
Yeah.
Transition into that.
I'm going to transition into the next.
Yes. Excuse me. So, getting my passport.
Yes.
Because you have to have that to go off to a different
Yes,
country.
so he was going to Italy this summer
Well-
with his grandmother.
Grandmother, uncle,
and
most of the
and
family.
But
so-
it was like, what, you had known about it for a
I
long
hadn't
time,
known about
so
it since
you knew that,
2015.
like, I have to get this done by
Yeah.
this.
So before I even knew that I was going off to Europe, Before I knew that I was going to really start transitioning, I knew I was going off to Europe.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that this was going to be a huge process that I had to go through. And it was, like, my first plans for it were to just get the money, just deal with that. That was it. Nothing more.
Yeah.
And then I started coming out. I started having the support for it. I've kind of always known that I was transgender, even if I didn't know that that was the term for it. Just because, like, I was always tomboy. I always acted more like a boy. And then everyone's like, oh, you'll get out of that phase. And I never did.
It wasn't a phase.
So here we are. And
23 years later.
yeah.
How old are you,
So
23?
yeah, 23.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, I'm not a baby anymore. Nice try.
I always forget.
Yeah.
I always think you're 24.
Oh, well, that's flattering. Thank you. Everyone calls me 16. Okay.
I feel.
So, like I said, with the name change, I had to get my license changed. I had to get everything changed with the bank. So I had to have all these extra copies of the court.
Court order.
Thank you. That. And so I also had to change my social security number, like the name
like the first
associated
thing,
with it.
yeah.
And I had to change it with my landlord because I was living in, Keene as well. And I actually haven't changed it on my birth certificate.
Me
I
either.
was told that I had to for it, but I didn't.
Yeah.
And it's really
They're
difficult
trying to
do
pass
it.
a law in New Hampshire to be able to do it with just a form like the gender marker
That's
is,
so cool.
instead of going through the whole court order thing. So.
Yeah, well, because I'm not even confirmed with the court that I'm that I'm male.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
through my through my license.
Yeah,
and,
same.
Yeah,
Same.
and through
I
my
know so
passport
many
I did
people
that.
that are like that. Like,
Yeah.
they're just like, I'm waiting till it's not so complicated. So
Well,
hopefully
yeah.
they'll do that.
I'm pretty sure Norway's not that complicated.
Yeah, so just
More on
move to
that
fucking-
later.
He's gonna move to Europe anyway. So
That's
it
the
doesn't
plan.
matter.
So
Spare yourself.
I don't know if anyone really knows about like the process of getting a passport.
It takes a while.
It
Even
does.
just normally getting your passport takes a while.
Like,
Not-
if
let
you-
alone changing it.
Well,
you
but
know?
if you renew it, like my grandmother, she just renewed it, got it within 3 weeks
Yeah.
instantly, like was done. We applied at the same exact time, and she got it within 3 weeks, and mine took like almost 6 months because it was a hassle to do. So what I ended up having to do is that you kind of have to have like 2 forms of ID. You have to have like your base main one, your driver's license, social security number, something like that, or proof for a secondary one to be able to identify
So what
yourself.
did you use?
I used my old passport, which was expired. But it was saying, hey, by the way, I was legally like this. My name was formerly like this. Here's the court
changed it.
order. Here's everything. So they can officially see through the law that that's how it was. That's who it was. And what ended up happening is that I don't remember which form was actually approved. Because I wrote out 3 different forms to try to send it out because they didn't know what to do for it.
Yeah.
So I just kind of trial by error.
Right, because you were trying to make sure that it said male because your license
first,
said
yeah.
male. So, like,
Yeah.
if they didn't match, it would have been like, you can't get on the
Yeah.
plane kind of thing.
Because, well, they don't really look at your driver's license if you're in Europe. No
But,
one ever
like,
does.
In the U.S.
But
it
yeah,
would be-
I wanted everything to match up. I didn't want any complication because
Yeah,
if you
just
have
get in
any
there,
complication, God,
Yeah,
I could lose that chance and all
Yeah.
of that money.
yeah. That would've sucked.
So I did all of that, and I was constantly going to the post office for all of this passport change and all this passport identification. And the saddest part is that they didn't know what they were doing. They have
But
never
hopefully
really had a
now
case.
They kind of have a base, like a
Well,
precedent. Hopefully,
They kind
on,
of
like,
do.
what to do.
At least one of them does.
Yeah.
Is
Like,
like
one person
she
does
can
it,
say
yeah.
what the form is that you had to do, what you had to have. Like I went to Planned Parenthood, who supplies me my testosterone, and I had them give all of this documentation of all of these records that I'm like, I'm
Taking
yeah.
yeah.
and that I'm going through the transition process. That it's not just a phase, and that I'm not changing it to try to change my identity.
Yeah.
And
Which is what every argument against trans people is. Like,
oh yeah,
I'm going to switch back and forth like
Yeah.
every day. It's like, why would you want to do this more than one time?
it sucks. Yeah, don't do it. It's
Yeah.
well, no, do it once, but not over and over and over.
Hopefully only have to do it once.
Hopefully. So, yeah, I went through that whole process, and I felt so bad because I was going in like every other week saying, hey, do you know
Have
any
you
more
heard anything?
information? I was constantly talking to people. I was constantly on the phone with all these other people trying to find any information out. Ultimately, my case ended up on this one woman's desk who happened to know all of these other scenarios for it and was like, oh, no, you just need this. You didn't even need that. So I didn't actually have to send any doctor's notifications. I just need to have a doctor write a note saying, this person is under my care. They have been with me for such and such amount of time. I have been treating them. They are confirmed as working, to get the transgender designation and to get, the gender marker changed or just to even change in general. And that was pretty much it. I didn't need to send any personal documentation out.
Huh.
And ultimately I was waiting on that, and they kept saying that that's what I needed to have. And it needed to be in a very specific format. Like, I'm sure if you asked for it, someone would send it to you. Because they have that. They sent it to me repeatedly. And I was like, I don't understand what that means.
Yeah.
And the people at the post office didn't either.
Huh.
So I was dealing with that. It was a
So I
huge
feel like
struggle.
it was just like a whole bunch of like miscommunication
Yeah.
of what you even needed to do.
Well, because
like,
they didn't even know. When
Yeah.
we'd call them and ask them, they were like, I don't know. That's not something that we've ever seen.
Hmm.
So it's,
Yeah.
but it was just that you have to fill out your application. You had to have your forms of ID. I used my old passport and driver's license, but if you didn't have a passport before and you're trying to change it like that, they might require a little bit more documentation, but I'm pretty sure it'd be very similar to how you actually apply for a regular one.
yeah. Because like mine expires in 2021, so I'm debating just waiting
Yeah.
and renewing it when it's expired and using my old passport as a. Because obviously my birth ticket still says the same information anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. I don't know.
I haven't looked into it because I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, and that's how it
But
makes sense. Like,
I
if
don't
you don't
want
plan
to
on
like
it.
not be able to go anywhere either. So
Yeah. I would check with them first to be sure
Yeah.
that you can.
It's just
legally
like
use
not on
that.
my list of things that I really care about doing.
Oh,
right now,
yeah,
so.
whereas, like...
Like,
yeah.
you kind of were like, I have to get this done so
Okay,
I can leave.
so-
So like, for me, it's like, meh.
So I went off to Europe. It was a huge plan for me to go off to Europe, and I ended up starting to date this guy that lives in Norway. His name's Jack. And
So now you've gone multiple times.
when I was on my trip to Italy, I didn't know that I was going to be... What was that? Oh,
It was Ezra.
yeah, but my phone buzzed too.
Oh.
Hi, Jack.
Like,
No,
he
so...
knows that you're talking about him.
He did. So what ended up happening is that I
Oh,
went
don't
off to
you
Italy.
get on my dresser, you little bastard. Get down. Get off that. No, get off that.
You
Keep,
wanna-
keep
okay.
talking, and I'm going to just... Oh! I hope that was on video. Anyway.
Somewhat.
Carry on.
Okay.
I'm going to pick up my laundry basket.
So
Get
what
off.
ended up happening is that I was originally going off to Italy. That's all we knew. And my uncle made it a surprise that we're going to go off to Switzerland, too. So we ended up going off to Switzerland. We went to Germany. We went to Austria. We went to Italy. Like, we trailed through all of that.
Yeah.
And I was on the Matterhorn when Jack and I were kind of lightly discussing that, hey, I'm already in Europe. How many more options am I going to, or how many more opportunities am I going to have where I'm just there? I could just, get a plane ticket and go over there. So we made plans for me to go over there for an extra 5 days off of my 3-week,
3 weeks.
yeah, my 3-week trip. So I almost spent an entire month off in Europe and, got the chance to talk to him, and we really connected and bonded. So I ended up getting another plane ticket for December so that we could spend Christmas with him and his family. And that's a big reason I need to have my passport, is because now I'm just like, I'm so convinced that I'm tired of the United States. And I never really
Don't
wanted to
blame
stay, but
blame
now I really don't.
Yeah.
So I'm
So,
not going
okay,
to.
speaking of airports then, have you had bad experiences with TSA? Because, like, he's pre-top surgery still, so
Yeah.
he wears a binder. Like, every time I got stopped with I got stopped with a binder, so I'm just, like, curious.
Yeah. So what ended up happening is the only time I ever had security stop me was when I was, coming from, no. So I had one other time, but it was not for my top, my binder. So I was stopped in the airport in, I think it was Boston, when I was first trying to get to another airport at all.
Yeah.
And they stopped me because,
Ezra.
I had something set off a detection. And, I'm so distracted. And what it was is that it set
My
something
Lord.
off on my back, and it was where my binder was, but it was literally just by the shoulder blade, and that was it. So they didn't even really give me a pat down. They just kind of, touched my back, and they're just like, oh, it's your
See,
binder.
like, for me, it always, like, lit up right here, so they had to, like, do
No,
a
I've
full
never
pat
struggled
down.
with that on all
Even
the
without
airplanes.
even without a binder.
Well, but see, that's the thing, is that...
You're bigger chested than you are.
Oh, yeah, because
So,
you're
like,
just bigger.
even the, like, not binder would set it off.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do I do?
No, like, when I was wearing my binder, from when I was first doing airport travel in general, like, when I first started wearing my binder and I went off onto a plane, I was wearing my binder, never once set it off.
That's interesting.
And I've only been set off on it once, and it was on my back. So I've never really had a
interesting.
problem. I'm not sure why you did.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I don't know either.
who knows? You probably have lots
I
of
have more
iron.
extra fat there than you do.
You have
so.
metal that sets it off.
Yeah.
Because you're pretty metal.
Hardcore.
Um,
So then what? You got
Yeah.
you were telling me that you got stopped for your packer
so, yeah.
in England.
I got a packer from this guy.
My old packer.
Yeah, I got my best friend's dick.
Real Magic 3-inch extra soft or whatever. the fuck
Extra
it's called.
soft.
I don't know. It's like soft squish. or
Well,
something.
because if it was super hard, God,
Yeah,
I'd never
right.
get anywhere. no.
Extra limpy.
So I get too scared to wear that in airport security in general because of the
You just
whole...
get pat down.
Yeah, and
That's what
no
I-
thanks. So I ended up just stuffing it into my bag because I didn't travel with suitcases. I traveled with a carry-on all throughout Europe. That's just all I had. What I was carrying with me was what I went with.
Yeah.
And both times, from summer and winter time, that's what I did. But I brought my packer the first time, and then when I was just going off with my boyfriend, it's like, why am I trying to impress anyone?
Yeah, right.
He deals with me, so he's fine.
Yeah, he just he knows.
Yeah. So I ended up bringing that with me, and I was stopped in England, and that was our first stop from the States. And they kind of just, sifted through my stuff. They're like, we think something went off, and we just have to check your baggage. And I was like, oh, is it, in the bottom corner over here? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, okay, well, I'm transgender, and that's my packer, so, you're gonna find a dick in there. And they were pretty chill with it because, you know,
Once you say transgender, they're like, oh.
Well, they're really cool about that in Europe. They're very understanding versus what you deal with here. And they were more so just like, oh, well, we just wanted to verify. We just have to check because, you know, regulations.
Strange, lumpy thing.
And she was really, like, interested in the fact that that's a thing. And she was like, oh, that's really cool. How long have you been, you know, on hormones? Because she saw that I had the medication. She knew that I was on, you know, testosterone. And was just like, oh, yeah, I've been doing this for this long. And she was, you know, she was just really interested and curious. Cool. So it's good, different than what it's around here.
Like, bad reactions from
oh God, yeah,
sure, so.
Yeah, no, and not to say that everyone in Europe's better and that it's totally fine, but I never had a problem in Europe. So
interesting.
Yeah. Which reminds me, he never brings his syringes.
Yeah, I don't
when
like
he travels.
I don't like to fly with them. I know I'm probably not gonna have a problem, but I just like the anxiety of it is too much. I just leave them at home.
Yeah, and
I don't want to fly with it.
I hit a point where I was like, I'm not going 3 weeks, almost a month without it.
If I was going to go away for a long time, I'd have to suck it up. But so, like 1 week, I'm like, I'll just do it early.
Yeah, so I had to think about whether or not I was going to take mine, how I was going to take it, and I didn't dispose of them ever in Europe. I took them back home with me, and I disposed of them that way. So getting rid of your needles that way, you could probably go to a hospital and dispose of it if you really want to.
I just heard, like, make sure you keep them, right? If you're going to bring them back, like, they're in something.
I had a toothbrush container.
Yeah, like a
and container. I just put it in there. It said biohazard. If people asked, I could open it up and say, I used these. I just don't want them to stab anyone.
Yeah.
And they're pretty okay with that. If you're really, like, cautious about it and you think that your testosterone is going to be taken, or if you're using any sort of injection for medication, if you ever worry about anyone taking that, like, away from you, all you have to do is just bring a doctor's note. Anything that verifies.
Yeah, like that, so they can see a prescription. That's what I've
because they, you know, what are they going to do? Take your medication away from you?
They really can't.
Yeah, so if you're...
That's why I know it's not going to be a problem, but I just don't want to, like, deal with it. It's, like, easier to just feel like, no.
I mean, what are they going to do with, you know, diabetics? So, like, that's where my first thought was, is that they're not going to do that to a diabetic. Why would they do that to me?
Yeah, exactly. There's plenty of people that take intramuscular injections for any random thing besides just transition, so they can't really be against it, I guess.
But that's one of those things where you mentioned that a lot, and I was just like, okay, well, I'm going to have to, so here's what the information is. And, the weirdest thing is to, like, be used to taking your shot in one specific spot, doing it religiously, and, like, having a system for it, and then going off to Europe and saying, I'm in a hotel. God knows what someone did in this very bed that I'm going to eject myself in.
Right.
And it's...
This bed doesn't feel right. I'm so, like, particular about what... Like, it has to feel, like, right. I don't know how to explain it.
I actually, when I do it...
It just has to feel right.
I have to have my leg hanging off, so if I were to be sitting on a bed, I have to be sitting either, like, pretty much with my leg off and the other one supporting me, or the other way.
Huh, that's interesting.
And if I'm sitting in a chair, I have to basically be at the corner and say, like, all right, both of my legs, this one's supporting me, the other one's relaxed. I don't know why, but I have to do that.
Yeah, everybody has their own, like, little weird things that they do.
I also have to listen to Les Mis songs to be able to do it and get away with it. Otherwise, I can't.
I watch, like, YouTube videos, so then it's like someone's talking to me, and I feel, like, less, like, anxious about it.
One of the things I noticed for myself is that I have to, like, sing, and if I relax myself enough to do it, if you think about singing, you have to breathe.
Yeah.
So I get so nervous when I do it, I stop breathing. And then I start, like, shaking. Yeah. And Jack saw me, you know, do my shot at one point. My hand's literally like this as it's going into my skin. And, it's the worst.
I had bleeders 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
And I haven't had a bleeder in, like, a year and a half almost.
I've had them so frequently.
Then I realized I accidentally did the same, like, twice. So I literally just, like, stabbed right in the same place. So I'm like, oh, yeah,
idiot.
Again.
I did that once
I get confused.
I did that
Which
when
leg
I had...
are you on?
This one.
I'm on right leg. Because I messed up.
Yeah, you did.
We used to be on the same leg. That's how I remember. Yeah. Like, okay, we're going to start on this leg.
Well, that was after, I think, the point where I got bad burns at work. So I had to do the same leg because I had burns on that leg.
And, like, for a while, I was off of it when I had my top surgery. And you had, like, just started.
Oh, yeah.
So we were a little off there, too. But we've been, like, mostly the same leg.
Yeah.
Now we're off. So.
What'd you do that
I did the right leg twice in a row by accident. I'll just do the left leg. No, the right leg again, then I'll be back. No, wait. If I do the right leg again, then you're doing the right... I'm confused. If I do the right leg again this week, then we'll be because you'll do the right leg, and then we'll be back to the same.
I'm really confused. I stopped listening halfway
Anyway,
through.
okay, so that was a good chat.
Yeah.
It was a long chat, but
It was.
It's good. We covered a lot of topics, so that's
Yeah.
good. I hope that if you listen this long,
yeah,
the best.
fantastic. Oof, 20 minutes. Sorry,
It's okay.
guys.
It's like a podcast. I honestly wish I could make a podcast.
Podcast would be pretty cool.
I just don't even know if anyone would listen to me talk on a
Well,
podcast, but I would totally make a podcast because I'm obsessed with podcasts.
The thing is like, why would you guys want to sit here watching our stupid faces for 20 minutes?
When you could be walking around and do something
or
else.
you could be doing anything and just listening.
I literally
that's
like
cool
make
too.
dinner, I drive, I do a lot of things podcasts. Anyway, on the list of things to figure out if I can make a podcast, but that would come later. So thanks for joining me, and maybe we can do another one soon about something else.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what? This is a big deal because Finn used to be like, "Don't make a video of me. Don't take a picture
Oh, God,
of me.
yeah.
Like, please don't." And then he's like, "Hey, let's make a YouTube video." And I was like,
and maybe it's because I look fly now, but like
It is.
I have way
"Your
more confidence.
your
yeah.
confidence is like so sky high."
Yeah.
Even since So like just the fact that you were like, "Let's make a YouTube video," I was like,
Well,
"Who are you?"
another thing about that is, like I could do another video with you that talks about my whole experience of,
yeah, it'd be kind of fun to do that.
but I didn't
Compare
have
stories.
that before, and I had no other reason of doing a video. Like I
Yeah.
could do the whole airport thing because, like, hey, I
I've
did
done
that,
yeah.
but I didn't have anything else. Otherwise, now I actually have a story.
Cats are going crazy. Do you mind, you little poopers? That just reminded me also, like, I think it's pretty cool, like I'm learning a lot of things from you about, like, the passport stuff and, like, stuff like that. And you learned a lot from just watching me transition at first, so it's, like, kind of cool that we both...
I was super inspired by you to begin with it. Like, I didn't think it was ever going to be a thing that I could do. And then I met this face, and here we are.
Here we are, 3 years later. Almost.
Yeah.
So it's good.
Yeah.
Oh, my lord. Oh, that was a big... Okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna go because the cats are being crazy.
God knows why.
Hope you guys are having a great week, and we'll talk to you next time.